Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. This is Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much. Let's stop the chat. Thank you. Okay. In the last session, we have learned what do you mean by EC2 service. EC2 service is all about creating virtual machines on AWS cloud. We already have experienced how to create a new virtual machine. In fact, what we have created is a Windows machine, isn't it? Okay. So I want to have a quick questionnaire round on the concept what we have discussed in the previous class. Is anybody ready to have a quick questionnaire on the concepts what we have discussed in the previous session? Rakesh Chandra, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hi, Sunil. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you for joining, Rakesh. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How about you?
Doing well, thank you, Rakesh. Okay. So have
Sunil,
you
actually,
successfully created an AWS account?
yeah, I got a doubt regarding that. If somehow I lose the secret key, I lose that pass key. So
key
sorry, key
pair,
pair.
say it as key pair. Okay, you can recover it.
Okay.
That's not a problem. Okay, there are some 7 to 8 steps of process which you follow. You can recover the key pair. That's not at all a problem. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Fine. Thank you, Sunil.
Now, can you explain what is EC2 service from your point of view?
It is like we are using it for creating the instances like for the virtual machines. So it is the service by which we can create multiple also like virtual machines.
Okay, perfect. What is a security group?
A security group. I am unable to recall it right now.
Whenever you're creating an EC2 machine, you need to open the port. Agree?
Yeah.
So we open ports in the security group. Okay. So security group step, we open the required ports. To connect to Windows machine, what port needs to be opened?
It is RDP port, that is
perfect.
39.
What is a key pair?
Key pair we are using to generate the passwords and is used to like.
What is the file extension of key pair?
.pem.
Okay, perfect. It is used for generating the password, isn't it, Rakesh? Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. Any more questions from your end?
No, that's enough. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the concepts what we have discussed in the previous session? Let's have a quick questionnaire. Yes. Abwar Mullah. Good morning.
Hi, Sunil. Good morning.
Yeah.
Thanks for the session.
Thank you. Any specific question on the concept what we have discussed in the previous class?
Yes,
you can recover the key pair. Okay. In case if you lose a key pair, you can recover a pair. That's not at all a big issue. Okay. Next, any more questions?
Okay. I just wanted to know how to store a specific that .pem key pair on a spacebar desktop folder. Like you have stored in your desktop folder.
You can save it in any folder, whichever you want.
But how to store that key pair in that account? When I downloaded that key pair, it is automatically gone in download folder. But I just wanted to store that in desktop.
You can do that. Just copy paste it. It can be any location. You can also carry the key pair in your pen drive also, and copy it in another desktop. And from the desktop also you can connect. Okay.
Okay.
It's anything. It's portable. Okay. That's not a problem. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Prabhakar Dubey, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Sunil. Thank you. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhakar. Your question.
I have a question. Like yesterday, we had a session on EC2.
Yes.
So, like when we create a EC2, like what type of EC2 that we're gonna create? Like if someone tell us that like we need a VM where we have a heavy application is running. So how can I identify that what type of EC2?
In the last session, Prabhakar.
Yes.
In the last session, we have created an EC2 machine, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, it's up to the requirement. If a client uses, if your client installs Oracle on the EC2 machine, what we have created is just an EC2 machine with an operating system, isn't it?
Yes.
With a Windows operating system.
Yes.
If we install Oracle on that particular EC2 machine, it becomes an Oracle database server.
Yes.
If you install Tomcat, it becomes a Tomcat server. It's up to us up to the client how to want to use that particular EC2 machine. And then according to or your question is what should be the configuration of EC2 machine? The configuration
Yes,
of the
yes.
EC2 machine should be always dependent on the existing configuration. When client wants to migrate their infrastructure to AWS, we always first study the existing infrastructure. Got it? What is the EC2 machine configuration, what the existing infrastructure is, and according to that, we provide the equal configuration in the AWS. Clear?
Okay.
In
Okay.
case if the traffic increases, if the EC2 machine configuration you want to increase it, how can we do it? We'll see it in coming sessions. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Let's have one more interaction. Fanindra Sai.
Good morning, Sunil.
Good morning, Fanindra.
So I have a quick question. Currently, I'm using Chromebook.
Okay.
So I am not getting that remote desktop client in this Chromebook. So how can I?
Chrome in the sense you are talking about Mac operating system?
No, Chrome OS.
Chrome OS. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to install remote desktop for Chrome. Search in Google. Okay. You get a different application. You have to download that and install. Okay.
So we can access it through Chrome OS also,
You
right?
can also you need to download the related application. Okay. It's for Chrome.
Okay, then I'm trying searching for that, but I couldn't find any.
You will
But
get it. Please check that. Okay.
sure. Okay.
Guru Swami. Good morning. Can you hear me, Guru Swami? You are allowed to unmute and talk.
Sir,
Yes.
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes, tell me your
Yes,
question. How are
sir.
you?
Yesterday, yeah, I'm good, sir. Thank you. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have a question. Yesterday onwards. So, number of instances do you have 1 or 10?
Number of instances is up to your requirement. If you want to create one instance, mention as one. Okay. If you want to create 5 instances, mention as 5. Got it?
Okay.
It's up
So
to the
if I
requirement. If you
yeah,
want to
if
have
I
100 instances, you can at a shot go ahead and create 100 instances. It's purely
okay,
up to the requirement.
so if I give 5, will 5 virtual machines be created, sir?
Yes, you are right.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
So with that, I didn't create it, sir. So I'll do it again today.
Okay. Did you create an AWS account?
Yes, sir. AWS account I created. I was
Successfully, you got a mail from AWS saying that the account has been successfully created?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I got it, sir.
Okay. Yeah,
Got
thank you.
almost 2 mails from them.
One for activation mail also, I think so.
Yes, sir. Another one is no reply mail, actually.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Let's move on. In the last session, we have learned how to create a Windows machine. In this session, we will be learning how to create a Linux machine. What is the importance of application called Puttigen and Putty? What is a web server? We'll also learn how can we install web server. And then we'll discuss more about security group. We already have discussed about security group in the last session. We'll discuss more about security group in today's session. So this is all planned for our today's session. Today we'll be experiencing a new concept called web server, and also we'll be experiencing how to create a Windows, how to create a Linux machine. In the last session, we have learned how to create a Windows machine. This is important. Most of the time enterprises will go on Linux machines. Let's experience the same thing on Linux. Okay, let's log into AWS account. I hope you already know how to log into AWS. I hope you already know how to log into AWS. You're right. What is the URL? I hope you already know the URL which helps you to log into AWS. The URL is aws.amazon.com, and you need to log in with your email address and password. So let's do that. The URL is aws.amazon.com. As I already have an AWS account, so I sign in. Log in with your email address and password. The landing page, the first page is called as AWS Management Console. AWS is nothing but collection of services. Here you'll find list of all the services as you already know it, out of which we are learning a first service called as, you're right, This is how the EC2 dashboard looks like. If you want to see list of all the virtual machines are also called as instances. Virtual machines are nothing but called as instances. Click on instances. We'll find list of all the instances which you have created. I hope you remember this is the machine one which we have created in yesterday's session. What is the status of the machine? The status of the machine is stopped. If you want to use this machine, go ahead and start it. And then you already know how to connect it. That's fine. Now, what's my plan for today? We'll be learning how to create a Linux machine. So let's experience how to create a Linux machine. Launch instances. Whenever you want to create a virtual machines, we already have learned. Click on launch instances. It is a 7-step process, isn't it? It is a 7-step process. Am I right? So let's experience creating a Linux machine. Launch instances. Step 1 is choosing Amazon machine image. In other words, it's an operating system. AWS provides different options of operating system. You can go with Amazon Linux. You can create Red Hat Linux, isn't it? SUSE Linux, Ubuntu. You can see different flavors of Linux. Okay, I want to go with Amazon Linux. Step 1, I have selected operating system. It's a quick revision for the participants who have missed yesterday's session. Instance type. On AWS Cloud Platform, we are now learning how to create a Linux machine. Obviously, the first question it comes to your mind is what is the configuration of the Linux machine? The configuration of the machines dependent on the instance type. There are different types of instances, isn't it? So the only type which is eligible for free tier is T2 micro. I hope you know this. So I'm also going with T2 micro. That means this Linux machine which you are creating on AWS comes with 1 GB memory and 1 CPU. Fine. Next. How many number of instances you want to create? I want to create only 1 instance. Fine. Next. Storage is nothing but the hard disk of this particular instance. AWS provides you 8 GB of storage. So we now know the configuration of the Linux machine which you are planning to create now. This Linux machine comes with 1 GB RAM, that's 1 GB memory, 1 CPU, and how much storage space? 8 GB. I hope you remember in the yesterday's session, when we have selected Windows machine, AWS is providing is 30 GB of hard drive, isn't it? Whereas in Linux machine, it is providing only 8 GB of storage. Fine, let's move on. If you want to get an increase, some participants may have a question, can I increase it? Yes, you have a text field here. If you don't want 8 GB, you want a 10 GB storage, you can do that. But for free tier account, only 8 GB is eligible for free tier. Next, tags, I don't want to provide any tags. Security group. Security group deals about what port needs to be opened. I repeat again, security group is dealing about what port needs to be opened. Once the machine is created on AWS data center, you can successfully connect to the Linux machine or a Windows machine, whichever it is. You can successfully connect it to the machines only when, friends, very important. I already have focused this in the last session. Only when port is opened. Every machine, the port needs to be opened. Port is nothing but point of communication. In the Windows machine, which we have created in the last session, we have opened RDP port. Am I right? Please revise the recording. We have opened RDP port. For Linux machine, it is automatically recommending you to open SSH port. It's automatical. Did I enter this SSH? No, it's automatically. It's very intelligent. It is guiding you, saying that you have to open SSH port. Yes, so SSH port is used for communicating to Linux machine. RDP port is used for communicating to the Windows machine. So let's open SSH port. Fine. But the new thing what I want to do in this particular step is I want to name the security group. I want to provide a name to this particular security group. In the previous session, I hope you remember it or not. We have not provided a name to the security group. We have just clicked on next, review and launch. But this time what I'm doing, I'm providing a name to the security group. You may have a question. What is the advantage of naming a security group? Why do we provide a name to the security group? I will answer your questions later. So let's proceed with providing a name of the security group. Name can be anything. It can be your name also. It can be my name. I can write it as Sunil. Security group name can be anything, but let's have a meaningful name. I also want to take a note of the name of the security group which I'm providing. I also want to take a note of the security group which I'm providing. The name of the security group I'm writing it as this is a Linux machine, I'm writing it as Linux hyphen SG is the name of the security group, and then with today's date, let's say 2/12. It can be anything. Security group can be anything. Security group name can be anything. I'm naming it as Linux SG. Linux hyphen SG12 is the name of the security group. Okay. So I want to provide the description also the same. That's fine. What is the advantage of providing a name to the security group? We'll discuss later. And in this security group, we have clearly mentioned that what port needs to be open. Let's also take a note of the name of the port. The what port we have open? You are right. SSH port we have open. What's the name of the security group? Linux SG12. Next, review the details. Yes, we have selected Amazon Linux with the T2 micro instance type, which comes with 1 GB RAM and 1 CPU. Fine. We have provided the names of security group Linux SG12. In that security group, what port is open? SSH port is open. Yes. Click on launch. When you click on launch, I hope you know what happens. When you click on launch, I hope you know what happens. It will ask you to create a new key pair. It will ask you to select an existing key pair, create a new key pair. You can also select an existing key pair, but I don't want to confuse you because you're beginners. I want to go ahead and create a new key pair. Key pair name can also be anything. Key pair name can also be anything. Yesterday we have created a key pair and we have saved the key pair. I hope you remember in my desktop. In the last session, I think AWS 11 AM in this particular folder, I have created a key pair with Sunil 11.pem. So here I want to name it as Sunil to today's date. Fine. So key pair name is nothing specific. You can provide any name. So I'm naming it as Sunil 12 KP. I want to download the name of the key pair ending with KP. Download the key pair and where I want to download the key pair in my desktop AWS 11 AM batch. I'm downloading the key pair. Fine. Key pair is downloaded, and you know, observation key pair file extension is nothing but .pem and launch instances. Instances are now launching. Scroll down, view instances. Yes, now you can see in my AWS EC2 dashboard, this is a new machine which is still in pending. It will take less than a minute for the machine to come into running state. Let's name this as, this is a second machine. Yesterday what we have created is first machine. This is the second machine. Now you can see the machine is in running state. You have successfully created a Linux machine, nothing special. In the last session, we have learned it to create a Windows machine, and now we have created a Linux machine. Less than just 15 minutes we have spent for creating a Linux machine. And remember what port is open? SSH port is open. Fine. We have successfully created a Linux machine. What's the next step of action? Not just creating a Linux machine, we should also know how to connect. From your personal laptop, you should be in a position to connect to the Linux machine. In the case of Windows machine, in the last session, we have used an application called Remote Desktop, which is helping us to connect to the Windows machine. But this time, whenever you want to connect to Linux machine, you need a terminal called as, what is it? You're right. Terminal called as PuTTY. PuTTY is a terminal. Using the PuTTY terminal, we connect to the Linux machine. So from my personal laptop, I want to connect to this Linux machine. From my personal laptop, I want to connect to this Linux machine, which is somewhere running in the Mumbai data center. Am I right? Whenever you want to connect to Linux machines, we will be using a terminal called as PuTTY. So this means, obviously, you need to install PuTTY in your personal laptop. Obviously, you need to install PuTTY on your personal laptop. So how to install the terminal? What's the name of the terminal? PuTTY. So it's very simple. Search for PuTTY download, putty.org, download PuTTY here. It again gets forwarded to check.greenand.ok. That's fine. 64-bit. It's putty.exe. Yes, this one. This one, putty.exe. Take this in alternative binary files, 64-bit putty.exe. And I want to download in my downloads folder. I already have downloaded, but I'm replacing it. So putty.exe file is available. It's down, it's available. Now click on this open. A terminal gets opened. Putty is a terminal. Why did we download putty? Please try to understand. Whenever you want to connect to Linux machine, we need a terminal. The name of the terminal is putty. So that's the reason I have downloaded putty in my personal laptop. And you can see this is how the putty terminal looks like. Using this putty terminal, you will be connecting to the Linux machine. Fine. What are the login details we need to enter in the putty? How to connect to the Linux machine using putty? Most important point, look at this. When you want to connect to Linux machine using putty, putty needs ppk file. When you want to connect to Linux machine using putty, putty needs ppk file. ppk stands for putty private key. ppk stands for putty private key. So putty needs ppk file. But what AWS provided us? Can you see? AWS provide what file? After creating a Linux machine, did AWS provided us a ppk file? No, AWS has provided PEM file. Key pair is nothing but file extension.pem, but AWS is not providing ppk file. AWS is providing file with extension.pem. So what you need to do, you need to convert the file with extension.pem. Well, that's what AWS provided. You need to convert the PEM file to ppk file. I repeat again, if you want to connect to Linux machine, the terminal what we need to use is putty. But the point is putty needs ppk file. Do you have ppk file available? No, we don't have it. As we don't have ppk file, you need to generate it. What do you have? You have a PEM file. What AWS is providing is a PEM file. PEM file is nothing but a key pair. You already know this. So it's your responsibility to convert the PEM file to ppk file. Once you successfully convert the PEM file to ppk file, then you can connect to the putty, and then you can connect to Linux machine. So let's learn how can we convert the PEM file to ppk file. Whenever you want to convert PEM file to ppk file, you need an application called as puttygen. You need an application called puttygen. What is puttygen? Puttygen is called as putty key generator. What puttygen will do? The puttygen will provide you ppk file. So what you need to do? You need to generate the ppk file, upload the PEM file, and then the puttygen tool will help us in providing a ppk file. So what is the name of the tool? So put name of the tool or application. You can say application name is puttygen. What this puttygen can do? The puttygen will convert the PEM file to ppk file. So what you need to do? You need to install puttygen on your personal laptop. So step 1, convert. I'm very clear. The PEM file to ppk file. That is possible using an application called as, you're right, that is possible using an application called as puttygen. Once this conversion is done, then you use the actual terminal called putty, which helps in connecting to the Linux machine. So let's install puttygen. We already have installed putty, that's fine, but you need one more application called puttygen, which helps in converting the PEM file to ppk file. Open Google. Puttygen. Download. Now go for the chairk.greenand.org. That is the right site. chairk.greenand.org. In alternative binary files, under alternative binary files, Here you have Puttigen. Puttigen, download Puttigen. Where I want to download is in downloads folder. Puttigen is downloaded. I'm opening Puttigen. Can you see? Can you read this? Putty key generator. Puttigen stands for Putty key generator. What it will generate? It will generate the PPK file. So what you need to do? Upload PEM file. Where is the PEM file available? I hope you remember. PEM file is available in desktop 11 a.m. batch, AWS 11 a.m. I'll upload this PEM file and I generate the PPK file. Please experience. It's a pretty simple process. Opening Putty key generator. Load refers to upload. What you need to upload? You need to upload the PEM file provided by AWS. In desktop AWS 11 a.m. Go to all files. And this is the PEM file. You have to upload it. PEM file is successfully uploaded. Then what you need to do, you generate the PPK file. Here you have an option called private key, save private key. Yes. Are you sure you want to save the private key? Yes. What do you want to provide the name? I want to provide a name, same name, Sunil 12 KP. I want to provide same name, Sunil. It can be different name also. That's not a problem, but sorry. PPK file. Got it? I'm selecting as save as type PPK, save. Done. I have converted PEM file to PPK file, as simple as that. How did I successfully convert the PEM file to PPK file? Using an application called as Puttigen. The Puttigen is used for converting the PEM file to PPK file. I'll show you again if you have missed. I'm deleting the PPK file. I'll again generate whenever I want, I can generate it. It's a one-time process. You need to generate again. You don't need to generate again and again. So I'm generating load. What you want to do in my desktop, AWS 11 a.m. Go for all files. Upload the PEM file. Save private key. Yes. And the PPK file X file name. What can be the file name? File name can be anything. For example, I want to maintain same file name, Sunil KP12, but extension should be .ppk. It can be different name also. That's not a problem. Let's maintain the same name. Save. PPK file has been generated. Got it? So I hope I'm very clear. Step one, what you need to do is to convert the PEM file to PPK file. After we have done that successfully using an application called Puttigen. As PPK file is now available in step two, we'll be connecting to the Linux machine using Putty. What are the credentials which are required? If you want to connect to the Linux machine using Putty, now I want to connect to Linux machine. Open Putty. What should be the host name? What should be the host name? To which machine you want to connect? To which machine you want to connect? This is the machine which you have created today. To this machine you want to connect. Select the machine whichever you want to connect. Click on connect button. Go to SSH client. Here you will find username @DNS name. Okay. I repeat again. I repeat again. Select the machine. Connect. Go to SSH client. Pick up the username @DNS name. This is what is required. For clarity, I am copying in the notepad. This is the username @DNS name. So this you need to mention it in host name. Correct? That's what I have mentioned. Username @DNS name. That's it. Putty needs what file? Putty needs what file? Putty needs PPK file. We already have PPK file ready with me. Where is the PPK file available? In AWS 11 a.m. only the PPK file is available. You should look at the you should clearly mention the PPK file in the Putty. Go to SSH. Under authentication, can you see private key? Mention where exactly the PPK file available. PPK file is available in desktop AWS 11 a.m. and this is the PPK file available. Yes. Got it? And click on open. It'll ask you, are you sure you want to connect? Yes. You have successfully connected to the Linux machine. Hooray! You have learned how to create a Linux machine. You already learned now how to create a Linux machine, and you also now know how to connect a Linux machine. What is the proof that you're connected? Let's increase the font size for better visibility. Yes, you are connected. What is the proof that you are connected? Whenever you create an EC2 machine, you have today created this EC2 machine. The name of the machine, what you have provided is machine 2. This machine comes with a IP address. This machine comes with an IP address, private IP 172.31.11.118. Are you getting the same number 172.31.11.118? Are you getting an IP address? That's a proof that you're connected to Linux machine. Clear about this, and whatever you want, you can configure now. So the point is not just creating a Linux machine. You also now know how to connect the Linux machine using PuTTY. I want to quickly show you one more time how to connect. You need an application called PuTTY. Hostname should be username at the DNS name. So I have already picked up the username and DNS name. And then under SSH authentication, you should mention the private key. Private key is something like a password, and click on open. Are you sure you want to connect? Yes. And you can see you have successfully connected. So my dear friends, you now know not just Windows machine, you also know the process of creating a Linux machine. And you also now know the process of connecting to the Linux machine using a terminal called PuTTY. Let's have a quick interaction. Any questions, please raise your hand. Veeraswamy, good morning. You are allowed to unmute yourself, and then you can have a talk. Good morning, Veera. We cannot hear you. Check your mic settings. Manish Patel.
Hello.
How are you, Manish?
Good morning, sir.
Clear about how to create a Linux machine, Manish, and then how to connect to the Linux machine? Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, how to connect to using root user?
I'll show you. Okay. So this is the username. Instead of EC2-user, mention it as root @ domain name. Okay. Got it? DNS name. Any more questions, Manish?
No.
Thank you. Tushar, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, Tushar. We can hear you. How are you doing?
Hi, Sunil. Yeah, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I had a question from yesterday. So basically, I stopped my file. So basically, it's a free tier right now. So
You
it's
stopped
okay.
here?
I stopped my instance yesterday.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a free tier right now. So no worries. But when I'll be like, it will be charging me.
Okay.
So
if you want to avoid the bill, okay,
yeah.
you can remove the instance permanently. Okay. If you want to remove the instance permanently, I thought of showing this today, but that's fine. Let's say this is the instance which you have created yesterday. It is stop, right? When you don't want this instance permanently, there's an option called terminate. Okay.
Okay.
Terminating is nothing but deleting the instance permanently. Whenever you don't want permanently, you can remove it from your account by using terminate option. Okay.
Okay. So Sunil, if I stop it, so for what services would it be charging me? Because I've stopped the computing.
Yes, there is a limitation. Okay. Generally, many participants think that stopped instances will not be charged, but stopped instances are also charged, Tushar. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll discuss that soon.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Tushar. Lewis, good evening. What's time for you? Can you hear me, Lewis? You are allowed to unmute yourself.
Hi, Sunil. I'm so sorry. I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, you can. I can hear
hi.
you.
This is Ignatius. I'm basically from India itself. So
okay.
I have a couple of questions. One from yesterday, one from today.
So are you,
Uh,
first point, are you new to AWS or you already know it?
yes, I am new to AWS.
So how is your
I
learning experience?
I have a networking telecommunications background, so there are a couple of things that I can relate to, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
there is a whole lot that I am new to.
That's fine. But my question is, how is your
Yeah, I'm
experience of
coping up
learning?
well. Yeah, I'm coping up well.
Okay.
So far the pace is good. The learning is it's on the higher side. So
Okay. Thank you.
couple of questions. First was regarding yesterday. You mentioned that when we connect to when we are connecting to either a Windows server or a Linux server, we need to mention the port numbers. So are those layer 4 transport layer port numbers?
You are
Just
right.
okay. Yeah, thanks for confirming that. And second thing, the Linux machine that you created today, you mentioned that there is a private IP address and then there is a public IP address as well.
Yes.
But while connecting to the Linux server, you chose the DNS name rather than choosing the IP address. So can
Yes.
we connect to the server or
Using the IP address instead of DNS name, you can also do that.
And that would be the public one or
Public
the
IP,
private
obviously.
one? Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
That would be all. Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate
Nothing
it.
more.
Thank you.
May I know
Yeah,
your
that-
location?
I'm from NCR Gurgaon.
Okay. How do you got to know about this training?
One of my very good friends. He is. I believe he's an ex-batchmate. He had. I was looking to.
Upgrade to
Yes,
AWS.
yes, yeah. Because my technology basically works from layer 1 to layer 4, so I do not have very good visibility to what happened on layer 4 and above in the protocol stack. So my friend, he is also in networking background. He suggested me that you should give this thing a try. So I thought, why not? Since it would be anyways, it would be a good learning experience.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
I got to know from a friend of mine.
Okay. You are running from day one.
Yes.
Thank you, Levi's.
Yeah. Thank you.
Srivalli. Your question, please.
Hello, Sunil. This is Srivalli, and thank you for the coaching. I too got your group info from one of my friends.
Okay.
So, CJ ex batchmate of you.
Thank you.
So here, I am using my professional machine without VPN to connect to the AWS.
What do you mean by professional machine?
Like not personal machine.
You're
It's
talking
like
about your personal laptop. You're not using your personal laptop.
No.
You are using the laptop provided by your office organization.
Yeah, it's a workstation provided by office.
That's fine. Okay.
So without VPN, but when just now when I created link connect to instance, I'm getting error like.
You're talking about the Windows machine, or you're talking about the Linux machine which you're
Linux machine. Yesterday Windows
So-
machine I disconnected, like I'm not able to cope up with you, and I have not able to connect. But today I'm able to cope up with you and trying to connect Linux machine.
The first recommendation, Wali, when you don't do parallelly, I recommend you to first focus on the session, and then once the session is ended, you can do practice. Okay. Okay. But I recommend you, your office firewall settings sometimes will stop you to connect to this AWS instances, Srivalli. Okay.
Yeah, that is what. Okay.
Yeah, your office firewall settings will stop you to connect to the remote instances because of security settings. So I recommend you to practice this AWS from your personal laptops or desktop. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Raj Shekhar Patil. How are you?
Hi Sunil, I'm fine Sunil. How are you Sunil?
I'm fine, thank you, Raj Shekhar. How is
It's very
feed?
good. I'm
Okay.
not even missed even a single moment of your class from day one.
Right, thank you. You know AWS or you completely new for you?
Completely new Sunil.
Okay, are you comfortable?
Yeah, very good. And right now I'm feeling like I can do it. It's
Yes.
like the way you explain it's very easy Sunil.
Maintain the same interest till the last day. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So
sir.
that you can get the best of the training. I also recommend you to do hands-on, not just listening. You will retain the concepts only when you do hands-on, isn't it? It is.
Sure,
And did you
sir.
create AWS account, Raj
Yeah,
Shekhar?
yeah, I have created, sir.
Thank you. Yes, your technical questions, please.
Yeah, sir, like when you use the connect option in AWS, you are going for only the SSH client, but there are 4 to 5 options, right? In that AWS.
The preferred client is SSH because SSH clients are used for connecting to Linux machines. There are many more ways to connect to the Linux machine. Okay, but the preferred one is SSH. That's the reason I'm going for SSH client.
No, yeah, that's okay, sir. But like when you go to the AWS console and give connect, right? Like you are going for the only one option, but there are 5 options, right? Something AWS serial console. You can go there, give connect.
You're talking about
Yeah, this one.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Correct.
These are all related to different services. Okay, so you have to wait to understand all these concepts.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Anything more?
Nothing, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's have one more interaction and then we get into the concepts. Sri Ratna Lakshmi.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Lakshmi. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I think I have joined in DevOps, but I'm not able to continue. So
Okay.
Start with the AWS.
Okay. No problem. Yeah. Your question.
Can you please show the putty again? How to connect that host and your
Right now, Lakshmi, can you see the putty? We are already connected. Okay. So I am writing exit to disconnect to the Linux machine. Let's connect again.
1 second, please.
Can you see my screen?
No, that's what I'm not able to see. Yeah, I'll make it as full screen. Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. What is the terminal which is used to connect to Linux? Putty.
Yeah.
Under host name. Okay. What you need to enter? You need to enter
the DNS name.
user@DNS. Okay. Yeah. From where I'll get this information? Select the mission.
Okay, connect.
In the SSH client.
Don't
Don't take the complete SSH command because that's a different terminal. For putty, you need to just pick up this part of user@DNS. Okay.
Can we take the fourth one?
Which one?
Fourth, connect to your instance using its public DNS.
No, you pick up this one. Take this option. Okay. This is only just public DNS. When you enter this, you will ask for username. Anyway, say this is having username also. Okay. So what is the username? EC2-user is the username, isn't it? And this putty needs what file?
SSH authentication, right?
Putty needs what file?
PPK.
Where is the PPK file available? Under SSH authentication, locate your PPK file. In desktop, AWS 11 AM, this is the PPK file available, isn't it, Lakshmi?
Okay.
So mention that PPK file is available in this location and just click on open. You're connected. That's it. As simple as that.
Fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. And one more important point before continuing about the concept of web server. I got a message from many of you saying that you are not part of WhatsApp groups. The information related to training will be provided in the WhatsApp group. So I all of us should be in the same WhatsApp group platform. So I am sending the WhatsApp group link in the chat box. Group number 6. If you are not in the WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group using this link. If you're already in the WhatsApp group, please do not join the duplicate groups. If 6 is full, please join WhatsApp group number 7. If 6 is full, this is group 6. Now I'm talking about group 7. If 6 is full, then use group number 7. Pick up the WhatsApp group from the chat box and then join using that WhatsApp group link. What's our agenda for today's session? We have learned how to connect to Linux machine. You now know the putty is a terminal which is used for connecting to Linux machine. PuttyGen is a generator which will convert the PEM file to PPK file. Yes. Now let's experience the concept of web server. Especially people who are not having experience, people who are from non-IT background who want to get into IT background. First, don't worry about these kind of technical jargons. Okay, the concept of web server is very simple. Okay, just don't worry about the technical jargons. Let's try to understand the concept of web server. Now we are standing here on today's agenda. What is a web server? Look at this. Let's try to understand the definition of web server. A web server is a program. That's nothing special. It's a program which uses HTTP protocol, hypertext transfer protocol, to serve the files from web pages to users in response to their request. In response to the request, you get the web pages. That's what the web server will do. Examples of web servers are Apache HTTP web server, Internet Information Server. This is by Microsoft. Nginx, HTTPD by Apache. These are all examples of web server. So what is a web server? Let's make it simplified. These are all examples of web server. Okay. What is a web server? Let's try to understand. Let's simplify it. From my personal laptop, I'm opening browser. In my browser, I'm writing iciicibank.com. I want to perform internet banking. So what I'm doing in my personal laptop, I am opening Google Chrome. In this Google Chrome, all of us can understand this, iciicibank.com. Even non-technical people can easily understand this web server. So what will happen when you write iciicibank.com? You get the ICICI Bank login page where we log in with the email address and user ID and password where we connect net banking. Okay. The moment you press icici.com, the press enter. Now what do you get in response? What do you get in response? In response, you will get a web page. Agree or not? Web page. As simple as that. Press enter. Sorry, not this one. I'm pressing iciicibank.com. In response, what I'm getting? What is this? This is nothing but a web page. What is this, my dear friends? What is this? This is nothing but a web page, HTML page or a PHP page, isn't it? Okay, I repeat again. From my browser, I type icici.com. I am getting a web page. That means, where is this web page available? Is this web page available in your personal laptop, in your C drive or D drive? No, it is available in a web server. It is available in a web server. So web server is nothing but a collection of web pages. Login page, mini statement page, contact us page, services page. The web server is a collection of pages. Whenever you enter iciicibank.com, you from your laptop, when you enter iciicibank.com, you are a user. You are an end user of the application. Whenever in the Google Chrome you open iciicibank.com, the request will go to web server. In the web server, you have pages. Web server is nothing but you can visualize as an EC2 machine. This web server is nothing but a EC2 machine. So in response, you get a web server. Request will go to web server, and in response, you get a web page. Agree or not? You may be in India. You may be in India. You may be in US. Anywhere. Okay. You may be in any location. If you open iciicibank.com, the request will go to same web server, and you get the same web page. Agree or not? So what is web server? Web server is nothing but a software, or it's a small program which will take the request from the users. How are you providing the request? Using the URL iciicibank.com, you are sending a request. Whenever your web server receives a request, it will deliver the web page. That's it. Once you get the web page, you're getting a web page. Once you log in with your username and password, next what you'll get, the next page what you get is a home page. In the home page, when you click on credit cards, you get a credit card page. So web server will have hundreds of pages. So as per the request which you enter, as per the options which you click, you get the request will go to web server. In response, you get web page. Web server will take the request and gives you the web page. As simple as that. When you go to a restaurant, let's make it simplified, non-technical. You go to a restaurant, you send a request saying that you order. Who will take the request? Your server will come to your table and then he'll take the request. And then according to the request, he'll deliver you the required product or something like that, isn't it? Something like the web server will take the request. You should end users will provide the request using the browser. It will take the request in response. You get the web page, as simple as that. Okay. So is this a web server? Look at this, friends. Look at the EC2 machine which we have just now created. This is the EC2 machine which you have just now created. Am I right? Now this machine, is it a web server? It is not a web server. It is just an operating system, Linux, empty Linux. It's an empty operating system. If you install Apache HTTP, it becomes a web server. If you install Nginx, it becomes a web server. If you install IIS, it becomes a web server. You need to install some extra software so that the machine will be acting as a web server. If you install Oracle, it becomes a database server. It's up to you. How do you want to use that machine? You have created this. As of now, it's an empty Linux machine. It's a plain operating system. The hardware with the operating system. Now, how do you want to use this particular machine? I want to use this machine as a web server. If you want to use this particular machine as a web server, then you need to install the web package. Web package is nothing but a software. Let's learn how can we install a web package. When you install a web package, is nothing but a software. When you install a web package, it becomes a web server. And then when it becomes a web server, let's experience how the web server behaves practically. So there are different examples of web servers. You can install Apache HTTP, you can install IIS, you can install Nginx, you can install HTTPD. In this example, I'm installing HTTPD. I have created an EC2 machine, friends. I have created an EC2 machine. What is this EC2 machine? It's a Linux machine, isn't it? Which is having 1 GB RAM and 1 CPU, you already know, and 8 GB of hard disk. You know the hardware configuration. On top of operating system, what we are doing, we are now installing HTTPD. What is HTTPD? HTTP is an example of web server. So we are installing web server. So before installing, let's have more understanding about HTTPD. HTTPD stands for daemon. HTTP daemon is a software program that runs in the background. Okay, don't worry about background program. That runs as a web server. This software runs as a web server. It waits for the incoming request. This particular HTTPD, obviously every web server will wait for the request and answers the request by serving the HTTP multimedia documents over the internet. Obviously, when you're opening ICICI.bank.com, you're getting images and you're getting some videos. So web server is sending the request, sending the response to your request. Yes. I want to install HTTPD on this machine too. Let's learn how can we install it. If you want to install any software in Linux, what software we are installing? We are installing HTTPD. We are installing HTTPD on Linux. Whenever how to install some softwares on Linux. For example, you want to install some software on your Windows machine. Friends, if you want to install some software on Windows machine, how do you install it? You want to install WinRAR, you want to install Mozilla, you want to install Google Chrome. How do you do it? We download the software from Google. I want to click this. This is WhatsApp web application. Whatever you want to install, what you do, you open the Google, you download the required software. That's nothing but an exe file. In case of Windows machine, whatever you want, you can download it from Google, isn't it? Let's say I want to install Notepad++. Select the application, and when you click on this, Notepad++ software will be downloaded. And when you click on next, it will be installed. That's how you install softwares on Windows. But what's your plan? Your plan is to install some software on Linux. How do you do it? Whenever you want to install software in Linux is called as package. Software in Linux is called as package. Now I want to install HTTPD package. Package is nothing but a software. Whenever you want to install HTTPD, it's a two-step process. Step 1. You need to know about the term called repository. You need to know the term called repository. The name of the repository is yum repository. Linux community is maintaining yum repository. A repository is nothing but a warehouse of Linux softwares. Whatever you want to install in software in Linux, whenever you want to install some software in Linux, you have to install it from the repository. The name of the repository is yum repository. You need to install from the yum repository. Visualize a repository is nothing but a big warehouse, which is collection of packages. There are millions of packages available in the repository. The name of the repository is yum repository. There are millions of packages available in the yum repository. Whatever the package you want to install, package refers to software. Whatever the software you want to install in Linux, first what you need to do, you need to update the repository. It's a two-step process. Step 1, update the repository. And step 2, install the required package. Got it? Whenever you want to install HTTPD, you have to follow a two-step process. First, update the repository and install the required package. Yes, so let's do that. I am connecting to this. I already have connected to Linux machine. In this Linux machine, I want to install HTTPD. Look at the process I'm following. Installing the web package. First, sudo su. Su stands for switch user. Switch user will help you to switch to root user. Right. First, now I have connected to EC2 user. I'm shifting to root user. Root user will have higher privileges so that I can install the it helps me installing the packages. Next step, what I'm doing, update yum update -y stands for updating the repository. Yum is the name of the repository. Yes, -y. What it will do, it will update the repository. Look at this, the repository is getting updated. Whenever you want to install, first update the repository and then install it. When you install, then you get the latest packages. Yes, repository is updated. Once the repository is updated, what is the second step? Install the required package. What is the name of the package? What is the name of the package? HTTPD. Yum install HTTPD-y is a command which helps you to install the package. What package I'm installing? HTTPD. That's it. It's a small software. We have installed it. It becomes a web server. First, don't worry about the technical jargons. Now your Linux machine is a web server. I have installed HTTPD. HTTPD is nothing but example of web server. Now I have installed web server. Now, if you want to experience it, minimum there should be one page, right? If you want to experience, if anybody connects to your web server from your personal laptop, if you connect it to the web server, your web server will take the request. In response, you should get the web page, right? That means you should create minimum one web page. Okay, let's create a web page in the web server. This web server is nothing but what? This is nothing but an EC2 machine which we have created today. So minimum we should have one web page. So I am creating index.html is the name of the web page. First page should be always index.html as per web programming. CD stands for changing the directory. I go to a specific HTML directory. In the Linux machine, you need to go to a specific HTML directory. In this HTML directory, we have to create one web page, minimum one page. What is the web page I am creating? Index.html is the name of the web page which I am creating. In that web page, what is the content I am writing? My Google. What is the content I'm placing in that HTML page? My Google is the content. Echo statement will print the my Google, and then that I'm redirecting to index.html. When I run this statement, what happened? A file will be created, a web page will be created. The name of the web page will be index.html. In that web page, there will be a content called my Google. Yes, you can see now the web page is created. One page is created, that is index.html is created. Fine. So you have index.html. Next. We have just installed the web package. We have not started the web package. Service HTTPD is a command. Service HTTPD start is a command which helps you to start the web package. I have created a web package, I have created a web page, and I have started the web package. Now this is one more command I'm writing, HTTP DB on. This command will help you to start the HTTP server automatically when you restart the machine. Whenever I restart the machine, the web package should start automatically. This command will help you to start the HTTPD package automatically. Yes, done. Now this Linux machine is considered as a web server. Web server is nothing special. Web server is nothing special. It will accept the request and then give us a web page. So as a reason we have created a web page. So that's special. Now shall we request the EC2 machine? Yes. Now what we'll do, we'll try. Now our Linux machine is a web server. Now your Linux machine is web server. Now I want to connect to this Linux machine. Friends, now I want to connect to this Linux machine. I want to connect to web server. This EC2 machine is having an IP address, right? This EC2 machine is having an IP address. Select the EC2 machine. Yes, I am taking the public IP, friends. I'm taking the public IP, and this is the IP address which I have copied. Now I copy this IP address and I want to connect to this Linux machine using the IP address from my Google Chrome browser. Friends, in the address bar, I'm writing an IP address. Every machine can be connected using IP address, right? So I'm selecting the IP address. The moment I press enter, what will happen? Friends, the moment I enter IP address and I press enter, what will happen? The request will go to this IP address. That's nothing but an EC2 machine. This EC2 machine somewhere is running on Mumbai. I am from Hyderabad. The request will go to web server. And then in response, that EC2 machine is a web server, right? It will respond that it will give us a web page. Let's look at this experience. I press enter. The request will go to web server, and in response, you should get a web page. Are you getting the web page? Are you getting the web page? No, we are not getting the web page. There's some problem here. Look at this. We're not getting it will not take this much time. The request should go to web server, and in response, we should get the web page, right? We are not getting the web page. What is the problem? What is the problem? Try to understand. Browsers like Google Chrome will communicate to the Linux machines, or when we will communicate using HTTP port. Communication through browser happens using HTTP port. Do you remember in this Linux machine, we have opened what port? Friends, do you remember in this Linux machine, we have opened what port? You are right. We have opened what port? You have opened what port? SSH port you have opened. Do you remember? Let's go to that image. I think it is here. I have opened what port? SSH port. But browser communicates using what port? HTTP port. So you should open one more port, one more gate you need to open. One more port you need to open. What port you need to open this time? Tell me. You need to open HTTP port. How to open HTTP port? Sunil, you may have a question. Sunil, how to open HTTP port? Now, you can deal with port using security group. That's the reason we have named a security group. When you have created a Linux machine, you have named a security group. Linux SG12 is the name of the security group, isn't it? This is the Linux machine. Okay. This Linux machine is having what security group? Go to security option, security tab. You can see the security group. What's the name of this security group for this Linux? Linux SG12. This is the name of the security group, Linux SG12. So in your EC2 dashboard, there's an option called security groups. Select the security group. There are a lot of security groups available. You need to select your security group. What's the name of the security group? That's the advantage. When you name, you can easily refer it. Linux-SG12. Linux-SG12 is the name of the security group, isn't it? Select the security group, and you can clearly see this security group is opening what port? SSH port. Edit inbound rules. Already SSH port is open. Now what I am doing, I'm opening HTTP port. Source as anywhere. Anybody in the world can communicate to this Linux machine, EC2 machine using HTTP port. I'm adding one more port. Save rules. Communication happens using HTTP port. So that's the reason I have opened HTTP port. As I have now opened the HTTP port, now I can connect to this Linux machine. Friends, go to instances. This is the machine. Take the public IP. Go to details tab. You will find the public IP. Take the public IP. And now I paste the public IP in the browser. I press enter. The request will go to EC2 machine. That EC2 machine is having a web page. In response, my HTTPD will send me at the web page. Are you getting my Google? Yes or no? That's what it happens. It may be as simple as my Google, or it could be as complex as ICICIbank.com. The concept is the same. You have successfully created a web server in the AWS EC2 machine. You have successfully converted the EC2 machine. Clear, friends? What I want to do, I am copying the IP address in the chat box. I am copying the IP address of my EC2 machine in the chat box. Pick up the IP address from the chat box. And you may be in anywhere in the world. Pick up that IP address from the chat box and try from your Google Chrome. Are you able to get my Google page? I repeat again. Anybody in the world can access ICICIbank.com website. In the same way, anybody in the world can access our web server. Pick up the IP address from the chat box. Or the IP address is also there I'm referring the IP address in the screen. Pick up the IP address from the chat box and are you able to get the My Google page? If you are able to get My Google page, please type yes in the chat box. Are you able to get my Google page? You may be in US, you may be in Hyderabad, you may be in Bangalore, you may be in any location in the world. Are you experiencing the concept of web server? That's what it happens. Are you excited? That is the concept of web server. Thank you very much for your responses. Perfect. Look at this. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's stop the chat. So web server is nothing special. Web server will have web pages. Here we are connecting to web server in ICICIbank.com. In the real time, we connect to web server using domain name, something like ICICIbank.com. Now, how to link the domain name to IP address? We'll see that in the Route 53 service. But the concept is the same. Clear, friends? Perfect. So what's our agenda for today's session? So we have installed, we know what is web server. Web server is a small program which is running on the background, which will take the request and gives the web pages. You know the importance of security group. You know the importance of security group. Security group helps in dealing with the ports. Whenever you want to open the port of that Linux machine, go to that security group, add one more port, so that you can open the ports or you can stop the ports, whatever you want, you can do it. We are done with today's session. The concept of web server. Clear about this? What's the plan for tomorrow's session? I want to start the concept of load balancer. Very, very important. When you are appearing interview, definitely you'll get this question related to load balancer. Suddenly, when the traffic increases, what do you mean traffic? When many number of users are connecting to web server, when there are hundreds of users connecting to web server at the same time, the web server will go down, isn't it? Are you understanding? Let's say, for example, if you want to book train tickets, we go for IRCTC. Sometimes, especially in the Tatkal time, when there are many people connecting to the web server, because of heavy traffic, the goes down, web server will go down. How can we avoid the downtime? By using the concept of load balancer. Load balancer will distribute the traffic to multiple web servers. Especially when you say, for example, when Amazon shopping, when Amazon in announces a sale, Great Indian Festival sale, something like that. At the same time, at the sale time, what happens? When thousands of users will connect to web server, right? At that time, there is chances that the application will go down. How to avoid the downtime? The concept of cloud platform is no downtime, isn't it? Availability, scalability, pay as you go basis. So load balancer concept is very, very important. Okay. So please do not miss the load balancer class for tomorrow's session. Please do hands-on for today's session, whatever we have discussed. So let's have a quick interaction before ending the today's session. Praveen Gupta, how are you doing? Praveen Gupta, can you hear me? You are allowed to unmute now. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Sunil.
How are you,
Morning.
Praveen?
Yeah, and thanks for the wonderful sessions. And my question is, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're from which location?
Yeah, I'm from Delhi NCR.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are you new to AWS or you already know all these concepts?
A little bit higher knowledge.
Okay.
Gone through some videos. And yeah, I want to know if we open, you install the web server, and if I can I deploy my own website there and we can use that.
Your voice is not clear. Could you please repeat?
Can I create one website, my own
You can
website?
create it if you know website designing. We have created one page, right, Ravin? What page we have created? We have created index.html page. Okay. And that is having just one word called my Google. You, if you know website designing, create a beautiful page, name it as index.html page, create a menu. When you click on contact, the contact.html should be created. When you click on register.html. So like this, it's up to you. How do you develop your web application? Paste all your web pages in the web server. It becomes a website. Praveen, huh?
And we can access till our website direct.
You can access. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, one more thing I want to discuss about Bootstrap scripts before ending. Okay, it's already 12:15. Let's have this Bootstrap scripts in tomorrow's session. So I want to discuss something like Bootstrap scripts that I want to discuss in tomorrow's session. Let's have a couple of interactions more. Swagat Mohanty.
Hi, Sunil.
Hi, Mohanty. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mohanty. 1 minute, please. Can you hear me, Mohanty?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yes, your question, please.
My question is actually while I was just dealing with that PPK file, is there any specific protocol for naming that PPK file?
Any name you can write it.
But I faced one problem. While I saved that PPK file using underscore, the server could not be connected. But while I saved that PPK file without any underscore, then it connected.
Okay. Probably under special characters are not used. Even I'm not sure. I have not experimented it. But that's now name of the file doesn't matter, isn't it? Okay. So please don't use special characters.
Okay, fine.
Thank you. Anything more, Mohanty?
No. That's
Thank you.
fine.
Suresh Raju.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Suresh. How are you?
I'm good, sir.
Thank you. Your question.
Today, wonderful section, sir.
Thank you.
I'm non-technical background for your teaching. Very good for in this section in this season.
Okay, thank you. And also practice also. That will give you confidence.
Yes, sir. I am settled in a cloud background, cloud to job try to cloud.
Okay.
This is used for I am doing DevOps program to start.
Okay.
I am not
Okay.
DevOps.
Any questions on today's class?
No questions, sir.
Okay.
I am good for teaching.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Santosh Avula Santosh Kumar. Good morning.
Good morning, Sunil.
How are you? I'm fine.
I'm good, Sunil. I'm good, Sunil. Thank you. It's a really interesting and learning point for me.
Thank you.
And thank you for the session.
Any questions?
I have a question. So after installing a Linux server, can I upgrade my storage? Let's say if currently we are using 8 GB, Can I
Yes.
upgrade to 16 GB?
Yes, you can
after
upgrade.
installing?
How to, that is called scaling. How to perform
Yeah.
scaling of EC2 machines. We'll be learning in coming classes.
Okay.
You can
That's-
increase the CPU, you can increase the RAM. Okay. You can increase the hard disk. Everything can be done. I'll show you how to do it in coming classes.
Thank you, sir.
Khadir, how are you? Mohammad Khadir.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, Khadir.
Sir, actually, I'm from Bangalore, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So I am new to AWS.
Okay.
So I was working in a BPA from past 8 to 9 years.
Okay.
So there are many institute like they are telling they will give guaranteed placement and all.
Okay.
So I just want to know which course I need to go, either AWS or Azure. So, and also I want to know, will you provide any placement assistance, sir?
Okay. First point, we provide training. We do not provide any guarantee placement or something like that. Okay. And our team will help you in providing some opportunities where we know where exactly openings are going on, because we have a good network in all the companies. We come across different openings. We will share that openings. You have to prepare your resume, apply resume. If you're perfect in the skills, you can easily get the interview job. Okay.
Okay,
We
sir.
don't provide any
Another
job,
question, like,
job guarantee.
do I need to go for solution architect or DevOps, as I'm new to programming as well?
I recommend you to go for solutions architect, even though you are planning for DevOps also, but still solutions architect is the right certification.
Okay. Is it AWS good or this one Azure, sir?
Both are equally good because both are leading. So it's up to you whether you want to select which technology. Whichever the technology you select, you have to master it. That's first point. Opportunities are there in both AWS as well as Azure.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Mitesh Varu.
Yes, hi Sunil. I'm developer from Bengaluru. So I have one question. Like we have traffic for a specific period, so we can increase the RAM and other memories. So afterward, we can decrease the memories, and it will charge accordingly.
Yes. When you increase, you get the bill. Okay. So you can increase as well as decrease as per the requirements. Okay. How to do it? We'll see it soon.
Okay. And one more question. Like if I am creating a virtual VMs and instance, and after that I am deleting it, so it will charge like
Deleting
after
in the
1 year?
sense?
Yes.
You are stopping?
No. We
Terminating.
are
Use the word
terminating. Yes.
terminating. There's no concept of deleting.
Sorry.
Terminating.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. When you terminate, you will not be charged. Okay.
Okay. After 1 year also.
If you terminate it, you will not be charged.
Okay. Thank you.
So, and remember, and how to, once you're done practicing, please stop the missions whenever you don't want. And one more important point, if you don't want this missions permanently, you can terminate. Stopping is different. Stopping is something like shutdown. Permanently is different. Terminating is completely different. So I'll also show you how to terminate when you don't want these missions. Let's wait for the mission to get stopped.
Actually, I'm worried about like if I will terminate it will be sure, but in future if I will forget the date of 1 year subscription, so that's why I'm asking. Like
it's okay if you don't if you don't, even though you get a bill, okay, it's up to you whether you want to pay it or not. It will not be automatically deducted. You have to manually pay the bill.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
If you don't pay the bill, that's okay. It will be suspended. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's wait for the EC2 mission get stopped. Now the EC2 mission is stopped. When you don't want these missions permanently, let's say this is the machine which you created last session. This is the machine which you created today's session. When you don't want these missions, there's an option called terminate. Are you sure you want to terminate these instances? Terminate. Terminated. That means it will be permanently removed. So after 1-2 hours, it will be deleted from here. Right now, you can see the main status as terminated. Yes. can see the machine is terminated after 1 hour. If you log in, you will not find these machines. If you want to remove the machines permanently, there's an option called terminate, which helps you to remove the instance permanently. Thank you for joining session today. I hope I can see some participants are joining a little late, so please join at right time. So see tomorrow where we'll learn the concept of load balancer. Okay, thank you very much and have a good day.